I came home late, my brain still buzzing from cracking a fiendishly clever escape room. My third win this month. The house should have been dark, silent, the way it always was after Lauren's early bedtimes. Instead, I heard her voice, low and giggling, drifting from the kitchen. Oh, come on. Derek's equipment handles the job so much better than Miles' toolkit ever could. I froze, my hand still on the doorknob, the words slicing through me like a jagged blade. Equipment? Toolkit? My wife was laughing about me. To him. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a puzzle to solve. This was the puzzle of my life. Now, I know what you're thinking, folks. Why didn't I storm in there, rip the phone from her hand, and demand answers? Trust me, the thought crossed my mind. But here's the thing. I'm not some hot-headed rookie who charges into a maze without a map. I'm Miles Harper, data analyst, puzzle master, and apparently the guy whose wife thinks someone else's equipment is top-notch. Confronting her would have been satisfying, sure, but it would have ended the game before it even started. I needed to know more. How deep this went, who Derek was, and why she felt so comfortable humiliating me in our own home. So I did what any self-respecting puzzle nerd would do. I retreated. I slipped back out, drove around the block, and came home officially, making just enough noise to announce my arrival. Lauren was already in bed, phone tucked away, playing the perfect wife. But as I lay there, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't stop replaying her words. Equipment. Toolkit. The humiliation burned, but also lit a fire. This wasn't just about hurt feelings. This was about strategy. And if there's one thing I know, it's how to solve a puzzle. Step 1, gather the pieces. Step 2, find the pattern. Step 3, win. And trust me, folks, I wasn't about to lose. Not to her. Not to him. Not to anyone. Now, before you start thinking I'm some pushover who just rolls over and takes it, let me give you a little context, because, folks, context is everything in a good puzzle. My name's Miles, 38, and I've been obsessed with puzzles since I was a kid. Crosswords, escape rooms, Rubik's Cubes, you name it. If it's had a problem, I'm solving it. It's not just a hobby. It's who I am. It's why I'm a data analyst, why I can spot a pattern in a spreadsheet faster than you can say Sudoku, and, yeah, it's even why Lauren fell for me back in the day. She used to call me her human decoder ring, always bragging about how I could unravel any mystery. Irony, huh? But here's the kicker. That same obsession is why I didn't confront her that night. See, puzzles aren't about brute force. They're about precision. If I'd stormed in, yelling and waving my arms, I'd have scattered the pieces. Lauren would have clammed up, denied everything, and I'd be left with nothing but a gut feeling and a slammed door. No, no, no. A real puzzle master doesn't just react, he plans. He observes. He wins. And trust me, folks, I was already planning my victory. But as I lay there, pretending to sleep, I couldn't help but think back to how blind I'd been. Lauren and I had been married for 8 years, and I thought we were solid. Vacations in the Smoky Mountains, late-night Netflix binges, the whole American dream. But then I started connecting the dots. Those late nights at the office, the sudden interest in girls' trips to her hometown, the way she'd started locking her phone. Pieces, folks. All pieces of a puzzle I'd been too smug to see. And now, with her giggling about Derek's equipment, the picture was starting to form. But here's the thing about puzzles. The more pieces you have, the clearer the solution becomes. And I was about to get my hands on a whole lot more pieces, starting with that phone of hers. The next morning, I played my part. Cheerful husband, oblivious fool. Morning, hon, I said, pouring her coffee, watching her smile, that fake, syrupy smile. But inside, my brain was already working overtime, plotting my next move. Step 1, get into her phone. Now, folks, I'm not some tech wizard, but I know my way around a pattern lock. And Lauren? She's predictable. Her passcode was our anniversary. Cute, right? Or maybe just lazy. Either way, I waited until she hopped in the shower, grabbed her phone, and got to work. I expected to find flirty texts, maybe a few heart emojis. But what I found was worse. Her messages with Derek were deleted. Smart, but not smart enough. Because, folks, people always forget the photos. There it was, buried in her camera roll. A selfie of Derek, all smug grin and slick back hair, captioned the upgrade. The upgrade. My stomach churned, but my puzzle brain kicked into high gear. This wasn't just a fling. This was a deliberate, calculated humiliation. And if she was bold enough to keep evidence like this, what else was she hiding? Therefore, I knew I had to dig deeper. Confronting her now would have been like solving a crossword with half the clues missing. I needed the full grid. So, I put the phone back, exactly as I'd found it, and started thinking like a data analyst. Patterns, folks, patterns. If she was deleting messages, she was covering her tracks. But if she was keeping photos, she was sloppy. And sloppy people always leave more breadcrumbs. My next move? Her laptop. But as I sat there, sipping my coffee, pretending to scroll through my own phone, Lauren came out of the bathroom, humming like nothing was wrong. "Big day at work," she said, grabbing her keys. "Don't wait up. Don't wait up." Oh, I wouldn't. But I would be busy. Because, folks, this puzzle was just getting started, and I was already one step ahead. And trust me, when I solve a puzzle, I don't just win, I dominate. Now, folks, let me take you back a bit, because a good puzzle isn't just about the pieces you have, it's about the ones you thought you had. Lauren and I, we were the couple everyone envied. Picture this, summer trips to the Smoky Mountains, her laughing as I tried to solve a trail map like it was a treasure hunt, me grinning as she burned our campfire esmores. We'd binge old sitcoms, quoting lines like we were auditioning for a reboot. And her job? Marketing manager at a big firm downtown. I was proud of her. Hell, I even helped her crunch numbers for her big promotion pitch last year. We were a team, or so I thought. But looking back, I see the cracks. Those late nights at the office started about 6 months ago, right around the time she got that promotion. I chalked it up to ambition. My girl was climbing the ladder, right? But then there were the girls' trips to our hometown, always with her old high school buddy, Susan. I never questioned it. Why would I? I'm not the jealous type. Or at least I wasn't. But now, replaying those moments, I see the pattern. The locked phone. The way she'd change the subject whenever I asked about work. The way she'd stop calling me her human decoder ring. Pieces, folks. All pieces. And here's the thing about puzzles. Sometimes, the picture you think you're building isn't the one on the box. I thought we were solid, but now I saw the truth. Lauren had been working on her own puzzle, and I wasn't even in it. That photo of Derek, the upgrade, wasn't just a dagger to my ego. It was a clue. And if there's one thing I know, folks, it's how to follow a clue. So, as she kissed me goodbye that morning, all breezy and fake, I smiled back, playing my part. But inside, my brain was already mapping out the next move. Her laptop, her emails, her lies. And trust me, folks, I was about to crack this wide open. That night, after Lauren texted me she'd be working late, I got to work. Her laptop was password protected, but come on, folks, same passcode as her phone. Predictable. I started with her email, expecting flirty notes, maybe a hotel reservation. But what I found was a whole different beast. Buried in her trash folder was a bank statement, our joint account. Now, I'm the numbers guy, so I know our finances like the back of my hand. But this showed transfers. Big ones. Thousands of dollars, funneled to some account I'd never seen. My heart pounded, but my puzzle brain took over. This wasn't just an affair. This was a heist. Therefore, I dug deeper. The transfer started 3 months ago, right after her promotion. Small at first, then bigger, $500, $1,000, $2,000. All labeled consulting fees. Consulting fees? For what? I'm a data analyst, not her. And here's the kicker. Our savings account was down to almost nothing. My savings. Our savings. The money we'd earmarked for a house, a future. She was bleeding me dry, and I've been too busy solving escape rooms to notice. But now, the pieces were falling into place, and the picture was ugly. But then, just as I was about to close the laptop, an email notification popped up. From Derek. Subject, next steps. My blood ran cold, but I clicked. Hey, babe, it read. Once the next transfer clears, we're set. Can't wait to start fresh. Start fresh? With my money? Oh, hell no. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. And trust me, folks, if there's one thing I know, it's how to win a war of wits. I wasn't about to confront her. Not yet. That would have been like flipping the puzzle table before I'd solved it. No, I needed more pieces, more patterns, more proof. And then I make sure they both regretted ever thinking they could outsmart Miles Harper. Because, folks, I don't just solve puzzles, I destroy the competition. In this competition, they were about to learn that the hard way. Now, folks, every good puzzle needs a villain, and Derek was shaping up to be mine. But before I could plan my next move, I needed to know who I was dealing with. So, I did what any self-respecting data analyst would do. I researched. Derek Coleman, 42, sales director at Lauren's firm. Social media painted him as Mr. Charisma, flashy suits, slick back hair, always posting about closing big deals and living the high life. Gag me, right? But here's the thing about puzzles. The flashier the piece, the more it's hiding. And Derek? He was hiding plenty. A quick public records search. Don't judge, folks. It's all legal. Turned up gold. Derek had a lawsuit against him from 5 years back. Fraud. Apparently, he'd cooked the books at his old company, skimming profits until someone blew the whistle. He settled out of court, but the damage was done. His reputation was shaky, but somehow he'd landed this cushy sales gig. And now, he was cozying up to my wife, using her to drain our accounts. But here's where my puzzle brain kicked in. Was Lauren just a pawn in his game, or was she playing her own? But then, as I scrolled through his LinkedIn, I saw something that made my blood boil. A photo from a company retreat, Derek, arm around Lauren, both grinning like they'd just won the lottery. The caption? Teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, I bet it did, buddy. That photo wasn't just a clue, it was a declaration. They thought they were untouchable, flaunting their upgrade right under my nose. But here's the thing about puzzles, folks. The moment you think you've won, that's when you've lost. And trust me, I was already plotting their downfall. My next step? Get them out of their comfort zone. Disrupt the pattern. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's throwing a wrench into a perfectly good plan. Because, folks, this wasn't just about revenge, it was about winning. And I always win. So, folks, here's where the real fun began. I needed to catch them in the act, but I wasn't about to tail Lauren around town like some amateur sleuth. No, no, no. A puzzle master doesn't chase the pieces, he moves them. So, I decided to set a trap. Using my work email, untraceable to me, I sent Lauren a fake message from her boss, hinting at a big opportunity that required her to attend a marketing conference in Chicago. All expenses paid, I wrote, knowing she'd jump at the chance to play corporate hotshot. And jump she did. Honey, I'll be gone for 3 days, she said, all smiles, packing her bags like she was off to save the world. But here's the thing. I knew she wasn't going to Chicago. Not alone, anyway. So I followed her. Now, folks, I'm not proud of renting a beat-up sedan and trailing her like a bad detective movie, but desperate times, right? I watched her breeze past the airport and head straight to a luxury hotel downtown. And guess who was waiting in the lobby? All slick-back hair and smug grin? Derek. They didn't even bother to hide it, checking in together, laughing, her hand on his arm. My stomach churned, but my puzzle brain was on fire. This was the confirmation I needed. But then, just as I was about to snap a photo for evidence, Derek glanced my way. I ducked behind a potted plant. Real smooth, Miles, but my heart was pounding. Had he seen me? If he had, the whole game could have been up. Therefore, I decided to pivot. I couldn't risk confronting them now, not without more leverage. But as I watched them disappear into the elevator, I realized something. This wasn't just about catching them. It was about outsmarting them. And trust me, folks, I was already 3 steps ahead. My next move? Dig into their little hotel rendezvous and find out what else they were hiding. Because, folks, if there's one thing I know, it's that cheaters always leave a trail. And I was about to follow it straight to victory. Now, folks, let's take a breather here, because even puzzle masters have hearts, and mine was taking a beating. Watching Lauren and Derek stroll into that hotel, all giggles and stolen glances, it hit me like a freight train. 8 years of marriage, and this is what it came to. Me, hiding behind Fern, watching my wife play house with some sleazy sales guy. I'll be honest, part of me wanted to storm in there, kick down the door, and let them know exactly what I thought of their upgrade. But here's the thing. Emotions are the enemy of logic, and logic is my superpower. I drove home, replaying every moment of our marriage, searching for the moment it all went wrong. Was it my long hours at work, crunching data while she climbed the corporate ladder? Was it my obsession with puzzles, always chasing the next challenge instead of, I don't know, planning romantic dinners? Self-doubt crept in, folks, into the nasty little beast. But then, as I pulled into our driveway, I remembered something my old man used to say. Miles, a puzzle isn't about the pieces you lose. It's about the ones you play. And right then, I decided I wasn't the loser here. They were. But here's where my puzzle brain saved me, folks. Instead of wallowing, I reframed the whole mess as a challenge. This wasn't just about hurt feelings. This was about outsmarting two people who thought they'd already beaten me. And trust me, I don't lose at puzzles. Ever. So, I poured myself a coffee, black, because this was no time for cream and sugar, and got to work. My next move? Dig into that hotel stay. Credit card records, receipts, anything I could use to tighten the noose. Because, folks, revenge isn't about yelling and screaming. It's about precision. And if there's one thing I'm precise at, it's solving a puzzle. Lauren and Derek thought they'd humiliated me, but they just handed me the perfect challenge. And trust me, folks, I was about to ace it. The next morning, folks, I was back in the game, fueled by caffeine and righteous anger. I started with Lauren's laptop again, digging into her work email this time. I expected love notes, maybe some cheesy sex, gross, but useful. But what I found was way bigger. Buried in a folder labeled Client Proposals was a chain of emails between Lauren and Derek, but these weren't flirty. They were business. Shady business. Derek was asking her to leak sensitive client data, names, budgets, campaign strategies from her firm. And Lauren? She was complying, sending him encrypted files like some corporate spy. My jaw dropped, folks. This wasn't just an affair. This was a full-on conspiracy. Therefore, I realized the stakes had just shot through the roof. If this got out, Lauren's firm could sue her into oblivion. And me? As her husband, I could be on the hook, too. Guilty by association, thanks to state laws on joint liability. My puzzle brain went into overdrive, connecting the dots. The bank transfers, the hotel stays, the consulting fees. It was all starting to make sense. Derek wasn't just using Lauren for fun. He was using her to rebuild his shady empire. And Lauren? She was either too smitten or too greedy to see it. But then, just as I was about to screenshot the emails, I heard the front door open. Lauren was back, early. Honey, the conference got canceled, she called, her voice all sunshine and lies. My heart raced, but my puzzle brain took over. I closed the laptop, slid it back in her bag, and pasted on a smile. That's too bad, I said, watching her breeze past me, oblivious to the fact that I'd just uncovered her entire game. But here's the thing, folks, knowing the truth isn't enough. A puzzle master doesn't just find the pieces, he uses them. And trust me, I was already planning how to turn their little conspiracy into their undoing. Because, folks, this wasn't just about saving my marriage anymore. It was about saving myself. And I always save myself. Now, folks, let's talk strategy, because revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about getting ahead. And if there's one thing I've learned from puzzles, it's that the best victories are silent, strategic, and devastating. I remember my grandfather, a chess grandmaster, teaching me this when I was a kid. Miles, he'd say, puffing on his pipe, the best moves are the ones your opponent never sees coming. And right now, Lauren and Derek thought they were playing checkers, but I was playing chess. Grandmaster level. But here's the thing. Revenge isn't just personal, it's systemic. This wasn't just about humiliating them back. It was about dismantling their entire web of deceit. Those emails, the bank transfers, the client data, it was all connected, pieces of a puzzle I was now solving. And the picture? It was ugly, folks. Derek was using Lauren to steal data, probably to sell it to competitors or pad his own deals. Lauren was funding it with my money, thinking she'd ride off into the sunset with her upgrade. But here's where they miscalculated. They underestimated me. Big mistake. But then, as I sat there, plotting my next move, I realized something. This wasn't just about winning. It was about evolving. See, folks, I'd always been the nice guy, trusting, loyal, maybe even a little naive. But this betrayal? It was forging me into something new. A sharper Miles. A ruthless Miles. A Miles who didn't just solve puzzles but dominated them. And trust me, folks, that new Miles was about to make his debut. My next step? Set a trap so perfect, so precise, that Lauren and Derek wouldn't just lose, they'd crumble. Because, folks, a puzzle master doesn't just solve the game, he rewrites the rules. And I was about to rewrite theirs. So, here's where the puzzle pieces started snapping together. And trust me, you all are going to love this part. I decided to set the trap of all traps, using their own conspiracy against them. I drafted an anonymous email to Lauren's firm, posing as a concerned employee. I attached the leaked client data emails, framing Derek as the mastermind and Lauren as his willing accomplice. But here's the kicker. I made sure my name was nowhere near it. Plausible deniability, everyone, puzzle master rule number 1. I hit send, sat back, and waited for the fireworks. But then, things escalated faster than I expected. Within hours, Derek stormed into Lauren's office. I know because I'd tapped into her firm's security feed, courtesy of a backdoor I'd found in their outdated system. Their argument was glorious, all hushed yells and wild gestures, caught on grainy footage. Derek accused her of ratting him out. Lauren swore she'd been careful. But here's the thing. Panic makes people sloppy, and sloppy people make mistakes. Lauren, in a desperate bid to save herself, tried to pin it all on Derek, claiming he'd manipulated her. Classic move, right? But then, the real bombshell dropped. Derek, cornered and furious, blurted out something that made my blood run cold. If I go down, I'm taking Miles with me. I'll say he's the one who leaked the data. My jaw dropped. This guy was willing to drag me into their mess, even though I was the victim here. Therefore, I realized the stakes had just doubled. This wasn't just about outsmarting them anymore. It was about protecting myself. And trust me, you all, I wasn't about to let some sleazy sales guy frame me for his crimes. My next move? Tighten the noose, but do it so cleanly, so precisely, that no one would ever suspect me. Because everyone, a puzzle master doesn't just win. He wins flawlessly. And I was about to pull off the flawless victory of a lifetime. Now, let's take a step back because even a puzzle master needs to play defense sometimes. With Derek threatening to drag my name into the mud, I knew I had to protect myself. Legally, financially, the works. So, I did what any strategic thinker would do. I consulted a divorce attorney. Enter Rachel Morgan, a shark in a pantsuit, who laid it all out for me. Miles, she said, in this state, joint liability means you could be on the hook for Lauren's actions, especially if she used marital funds for her little scheme. Great, right? My wife's betrayal could bankrupt me. But here's where my puzzle brain kicked in. Rachel explained that if I could prove Lauren's actions were deliberate and hidden from me, I could protect my assets in the divorce. Better yet, if I could show she'd moved our money without my consent, I might even get it back. But then, as I dug into our accounts again, I found something that made my stomach drop. Lauren had already transferred most of our savings, over $50,000, into a new account in her name. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was planning to leave me high and dry, probably to fund her new life with Derek. But here's the thing, everyone, a puzzle isn't about the pieces you lose. It's about the ones you play. And I had plenty of pieces left. Rachel advised me to freeze our joint accounts immediately, citing state law on dissipation of marital assets. I did, but I also went further. I started gathering evidence, bank statements, emails, even that hotel receipt I'd swiped from Lauren's purse after her conference trip. Every piece was a move on the board, and I was building a checkmate. Because you all, this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about survival. And trust me, I'm a survivor. My next step? Make sure Lauren and Derek's public meltdown wasn't just a corporate scandal, but a personal one. And oh, it was going to be a doozy. So, here's where the trap sprang shut. And trust me, you all, it was beautiful. Lauren's firm, now in full damage control mode, scheduled an emergency company-wide presentation to address the data security breach. I knew this was my chance to escalate. Using my backdoor into their system, I helped the IT team by anonymously uploading a curated selection of Lauren and Derek's emails. Nothing that could trace back to me, of course. The presentation, meant to be a dry corporate mea culpa, turned into a live-action train wreck. The COO, red-faced and stammering, read out the emails, exposing Derek's fraud and Lauren's complicity to the entire company. Gasps, whispers, chaos. But then, Lauren tried to flip the script. She stood up, tears in her eyes, and claimed she was a victim, that Derek had coerced her, and that I, Miles, had somehow masterminded the leak to frame them both. My heart stopped. This woman was willing to throw me under the bus to save herself. But here's the thing. A puzzle master always has a backup plan. I'd already anticipated this, so I'd planted a final piece of evidence. A fake email from Derek to a competitor accidentally CC'd to the COO, making it look like Derek was trying to sell the data solo. The room turned on him, and Lauren's story crumbled. But the real humiliation came after. As the meeting ended, whispers followed them out. Derek, the disgraced fraudster. Lauren, the disloyal accomplice. Their careers were toast, their reputations shredded. And me? I sat at home, watching it all unfold via a live feed I'd hacked into, sipping my coffee like the victor the first was. Because everyone, this wasn't just about exposing them. It was about dominating them. And trust me, I dominated. But here's the thing about puzzles. The final piece is always the sweetest. And that final piece? It was waiting for me at the company's annual gala, where I'd face them both one last time and make sure they knew exactly who they'd underestimated. Now, let's talk transformation, because everyone, this whole mess didn't just change my marriage. It changed me. See, I used to be the nice guy, the trusting husband, the one who thought loyalty was a two-way street. But this betrayal? It forged me into something sharper, something ruthless. My puzzle obsession, once just a quirky hobby, had become my weapon. Every move I'd made, freezing the accounts, planting the emails, orchestrating their downfall, was a piece on the board, and I'd played them perfectly. But here's the thing. Winning isn't just about the game. It's about the legacy. And I wanted Lauren and Derek to remember mine. But then, as I reflected on it all, I realized something. The final piece of any puzzle isn't the victory itself. It's the moment you make your opponent see it. And that moment was coming at the company gala, a glitzy affair where Lauren's firm would pretend the scandal never happened, all champagne and fake smiles. I knew they'd both be there. Lauren cleaned her job by a thread. Derek desperately networking to salvage his career. And me? I'd be there, too. Not as the betrayed husband, but as the puzzle master who'd outplayed them at every turn. But here's where my grandfather's chess lessons came back, everyone. Miles, he'd say, the best checkmate isn't the loudest, it's the quietest. And that's how I wanted it. No yelling, no grand gestures, just a silent, devastating move that would leave no doubt who'd won. Because, you all, this wasn't just about revenge anymore, it was about power. And trust me, I was about to show them exactly what power looks like. My plan? Confront them, not with accusations, but with evidence delivered so smoothly, so confidently, that they'd have no choice but to crumble. And when they did, I'd walk away, head high, a new man. Because everyone, a puzzle master doesn't just solve the game, he rewrites the rules. And I was about to rewrite theirs one last time. So, the gala night arrived, and trust me, you all, it was a masterpiece. I walked in, sharp suit, sharper mind, watching Lauren and Derek across the room. She was in a red dress, laughing too loud, trying to charm her way back into favor. He was schmoozing some exec, all fake grins and sweaty palms. They thought they could still win, still claw their way out. But here's the thing. A puzzle master doesn't let the pieces scatter. He places them precisely where they belong. I approached Lauren first, casual, like nothing was wrong. "Great party," I said, sipping my drink, watching her squirm. Then I leaned in, voice low, and dropped the bomb. "I know about the transfers, the emails, the client data. And I've got it all. Dated, time-stamped, ready for Rachel Morgan to use in court." Her face went white, but I wasn't done. I turned to Derek, who just joined us, and smiled. "Oh, and Derek, that fake email to the competitor? Brilliant touch, if I do say so myself." "You're welcome." His jaw dropped, but I kept going, my voice smooth as silk. You both thought you could outsmart me. But here's the thing. I solve puzzles for a living. And you? You're just pieces on my board. But then, Lauren tried one last desperate move. Miles, I'm pregnant, she blurted, tears in her eyes, and it's yours. The room seemed to freeze, but my puzzle brain kicked in. I did the math, her conference trip, the timeline, the hotel stay. Nice try, I said, loud enough for the crowd to hear, but the dates don't add up. Unless, of course, Derek's the father. Should we ask him? The gasps were audible, the whispers deafening. Derek stammered, Lauren sobbed, and I walked away, head high, as their world collapsed. Because, everyone, that's how you win. Not with fists, but with precision. And trust me, I won. Thank you for tuning into Tori Story. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world are you watching from right now. Let us know in the comments.